This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 242, Till Death Do Us Part, Taking Love for Granted, and Healthy Relationships Can't Happen If This Is Driving Your Actions, by Lisa Merlo-Booth of lisamerlobooth.com. Hola, and happy Tuesday. I'm Joss Marie, and as you may already know, I cover a whole bunch of relationship topics 5 days a week. And crazy as it may seem, I've almost been narrating this show for a full year now, so there's a whole bunch of content to catch up on if you haven't already, and if you're interested. And today I've actually got 2 posts for you, so let's get right to them and start optimizing your life. Till Death Do Us Part, Taking Love for Granted, by Lisa Merlo-Booth of lisamerlobooth.com. Over the years, I've had several spouses say to me, quote, "I can't believe she or he's thinking of divorcing. I would never do that. She or he should be in this marriage no matter what." End quote. When people take their wedding vows, they are often in the honeymoon stage of their relationship. In this stage, couples are enthralled with each other, treat each other lovingly, and love spending time with one another. At this stage, it's easy to think you will love someone forever. You're both kind to each other more days than not. The trouble begins, though, when that kindness wears off. The moment you believe that your spouse owes it to you to stay in your marriage or you owe it to them is the moment that marriage is likely to be in trouble. No one owes it to anyone to stay, quote, no matter what. The love between 2 spouses, heterosexual or homosexual, is not unconditional. Staying in a marriage until death do us part is fine when 2 people continue to treat each other well. It is not okay if one or both partners are hell to live with. Spouses are meant to be supportive, kind, loving, and safe to one another. When they treat each other lovingly over time, the happily ever after is the ideal endgame. When they do not, however, then forever will be an almost unbearable life sentence, a life sentence that no one should have to serve. If your spouse is saying she or he wants to leave you, and you are angry that they have the audacity to think that, wake up. Stop being angry at your spouse for daring to leave you and the children, and instead begin to wonder how things went so off track that she or he would even want to go down that painful path in the first place. Ask yourself why your spouse would want to leave this marriage. Have you been taking the marriage for granted? Are you so caught up in your life, work, or interests that you failed to be home for your family, both emotionally and physically? Do you struggle with anger or reactivity that has eroded positive feelings over time? Are conversations difficult to have with you due to you becoming defensive, angry, righteous, or shut down? Take an honest, humble look at you and your marriage. Listen to your partner's upsets and reasoning from their lens, not yours, and see if you can understand where they are coming from. Be able to screen out the stuff that's not about you, affairs, addiction, or anger and violence by your spouse, while screening in the pieces that are. In the end, know that happy marriages are made of 2 mutually supportive, respectful, loving partners who take the time to treat each other well. They have the strength to be accountable, the compassion to forgive, and the determination to not take their relationship or their partner's love for granted. Challenge: be the spouse you wish you married. Incorporate kindness, accountability, love, and support into your marriage on a daily basis. Give your spouse an irrefutable reason to live happily ever after with you. Healthy Relationships Can't Happen If This Is Driving Your Actions, by Lisa Merlo-Booth of lisamerlobooth.com. Have you ever stopped yourself from saying what you wanted to say because of the way you imagined the other person would respond? Have you ever stayed in an unhealthy marriage to avoid being alone? Have you ever given in to your child's temper tantrum to avoid a bigger tantrum? Or have you ever silenced to sexual harassment because of the possible repercussions? Fear is one of the greatest influencers on decision-making. How many times has fear stopped you from setting a limit, sharing your different opinion, or having a hard conversation? Chances are you have made many decisions out of fear, because most of us have and continue to do so. Unfortunately, making decisions out of fear often leads to poor decisions. When it comes to relationships, the truth is that great relationships cannot happen if fear is running the show. If you're too afraid to set a limit with your partner because you know he or she will get angry, then you'll train yourself to take whatever they give you. When you allow the anger of a child to scare you into placating, you will raise an entitled child. Every time you choose an action based on how others will respond, rather than what is the healthiest action to take, you put your well-being in the back seat, and you also train others to put your welfare in the back seat. While fear is an important barometer for danger, it is not a great barometer for running your life. Stepping out of your comfort zone will almost always be scary. Not doing so because it's scary, though, will deprive you of great things. Having a hard conversation may leave someone upset. However, not having a hard conversation can leave a problem entrenched. Choosing to leave a bad relationship may require you to be on your own. However, staying in a bad relationship will cause you to lose yourself. Just because something is scary does not mean it is bad. Just because you fear that something will happen does not mean it will happen. And just because others may get angry with you for making a choice they disagree with doesn't mean it's the wrong choice. The funny thing about fear is that it's only a feeling, not a foregone conclusion. Another way to look at fear is false evidence appearing real, FEAR. You will be afraid of a lot of things in life, many of which will never happen to you. You will also be certain about some things in life, many of which will never happen. The reality is that you cannot predict the future, for good or bad. Fear is our body's warning system, so it is negatively skewed to seek out the slightest threat to us. You have to be aware of this negative skew. Rather than running your life by basing it on fear, begin to hone your skills at deciphering what is a true threat versus an imagined one. Don't ever alter your life or your choices based on an imagined fear of what might happen if. Challenge. When fear comes up, check it. Is this, quote, bad thing definitely going to happen, or am I worried it will happen? If it's not actually happening now, then it's a worry. If it's a worry, then ask yourself what decision or action would you take if you had no fear. Then take that action. You just listened to the post titled, "Till Death Do Us Part, Taking Love for Granted," and "Healthy Relationships Can't Happen If This Is Driving Your Actions" by Lisa Merlo-Booth of lisamerlobooth.com. If you have any thoughts on either of these posts, you can actually share them with us right on our Facebook page. The shortcut link is oldpodcast.com/Facebook if you're wondering. But that's a wrap for episode 242. Thank you so much for joining me here, and I'll see you again tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode, and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift, as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.